Hey, what's going on, guys? It is your good friend Matt. We are back again here today at the only place that we always can be. And as you already know, that is Matt's Wrestling Collectibles right here on YouTube. Today, guys, another episode of Casual Conversation. And first off, in this Casual Conversation, let me just say that, guys, I am so sorry. I do apologize. It has been maybe a week and a half. It might even be 2 weeks since I've actually given you guys a legit video, not including like the little shorts, stuff like that. So today, guys, I definitely want to get on here, and I do want to apologize. Had a couple of things going on over the past few weeks. I know I've kind of said that in a few videos, and finally things are starting to look up. They're starting to go into the right direction again. So all good things ahead over here. And as well as everybody that's watching this video, I hope things are well with all of you. And I appreciate you all for being here, as always, for another episode of Casual Conversation. Today, we're going to get right into it, guys. We're going to talk a little bit about Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, a couple of little things that are going on in the wrestling world, maybe a little bit about AEW as well in here. And we're just going to, like as always, casual conversation. We're going to see where this takes us, see where we go. This is all completely off the top of the dome, as some would say. And, so we have nothing here in front of us. Nothing is written. We are just going with it, and we are going with the flow. So, as always, guys, I want to jump right into this, and the first thing I do want to say is there is some news coming up for everybody here, so let's get this one right out there right now. And as many of you know, some of you already do, you follow me on Facebook. Matt's Wrestling Collectibles does have its Facebook main page as well as its Facebook group page. So, guys, the Facebook group page is going to be getting transferred to a public page. So we are going to be going from a private page to a public page. A lot of people might not understand the reasoning behind that, but there's a little bit of a backstory, so I'd love to give that to you guys quick and simple here. When I initially restarted the Matt's Wrestling Collectibles page, I started the group page myself. We were somewhere around like 500 members, maybe 600 members, somewhere in there. A good friend of mine, Sean, who I did actually meet through the wrestling stuff, which is as awesome as it gets. And my buddy Sean reached out to me and said, hey, Matt, I'm thinking about getting out of the wrestling thing. I have my wrestling page. I'm probably looking to give it to somebody who wants to take it over and do what they want with it. After a brief conversation of a few things and making sure that we were all good and that nobody was stepping on anybody's toes in the process, I wound up taking over what was known as the WFP, which was the Wrestling Figure Planet page. So I changed that over, and then I turned it into Matt's Wrestling Collectibles kind of / Wrestling Figure Planet. And we kept that going. And right now we're about to, I think, hit 3,000 members on that page. But what I wanted to do was, and I've been wanting to do this, guys, I've wanted to make the page public because it was already a private page. And unfortunately, when you make a private group page on Facebook, you cannot choose to make the page just public. You can't change it. So I have to make a new one. We're going to start from scratch. The near 3,000 people that do follow that group page, I genuinely hope, and I know it's going to be tough, but I really do hope that we will get everybody from that page onto the new page. At least I'd like to see, at least 2,000 or 2,500 be able to make the switch. And a few things that I do want to address with that, because I did post it on the page and a few people had some concerns. A couple of little things that I do want to make sure that everybody is aware of. When we do create the public page, it is still going to be the same process as the private page. If you want to join Matt's Wrestling Collectibles, you will be able to have the option to join, but I am going to review the request as I already do. Scammers, fake profiles, locked profiles, all stuff like that, obviously by discretion. Sometimes, yes, a little bit does slip by. You do have to try to catch it afterwards, but for the most part, we're usually pretty good. I do stay on top of it. A lot of you guys already know that as well, because a lot of you guys are on there. You see, I would say the dedication that I myself and a few others do put into it. We always try to keep everybody aware of what's going on, scammers, all this other stuff. Obviously you guys are out there spending your hard-earned money. We don't want to see you give it to somebody who doesn't care about this, collectible market, passion, hobby, whatever you want to call it. Nobody should be getting scammed. And it doesn't matter whether it's for $1, $1,000. It doesn't matter if it's anything in between or above. You should not be getting scammed. It should be a safe place, and that's what Matt's Wrestling Collectibles always will be. To the best of my ability, always trying to make sure that you guys are on there, safe, happy, enjoying the page. Obviously, if there's anything I can ever do, somebody can always reach out to me directly on Facebook. You can get to me on here. You can get to me just about anywhere that the Matt's Wrestling Collectibles platform is available. So And as always, a quick little shameless plug here. Again, we do have the Facebook main page. We do have the Facebook group page, which that will be changing from private to public. So make sure you're looking for that new page. It will be posted to my private group page for everybody to try to get over there and to be able to get back, to the new page before we get rid of this private one. But you guys can catch me on either of those at the moment. You can also get me, like I said, here on YouTube. You can also get me on MERCARI as well, so if you ever want to get me on there. And for the few people who are able to find me on Facebook directly, if you need to get me on there as well, that is completely fine. So, as always, guys, like I said, trying to always make sure that you guys are safe in your collecting, whether it's just sharing collections, buying, selling, traded, all of the above, whatever it may be. I want to make sure that you guys are protected and happy with what's going on in the group page. So, that is the first thing that I want to get to and the first thing that I wanted to address. And moving forward with that, I also do want to just kind of put a few more things out there as far as the group and what is to be expected. So not only will you have to still go through the same process of becoming a member by being, reviewed, your request will be reviewed. We will still have the scammer, stuff up. Everything will still be the same way it is. I did have somebody who was like, oh, but I don't want my posts to be public. So the whole thing is, unless you are in the group itself, you will not be able to interact with the group. Now, granted, let me just kind of put it to you in a different way. If I put a post on that page and it is a public post that somebody can click share and share to their own profile, if somebody then comments on it on someone's profile, they're commenting to that person's post. They're not going to be commenting to the group post. So again, if that person wanted to comment directly to the group post, they would have to join the group. They would have to be a part of the group. So all the group interaction will stay in there. The only difference being is that you'll be able to share some things a little bit more freely, whether that's YouTube links, might be other page links, but this is all just to help people grow, guys. I want to see this page get as big as it possibly can. Like I said, even before, long before group pages were a thing on Facebook and it was just main regular style pages, I had a little over 6,000 people on the Matt's Wrestling Collectibles page. So I would love to see nothing more than for us to be able to continue to grow and continue to, boost this, up in the algorithm, I guess you could say, so more people will be able to see it. It will not allow anything different. Like I said, it'll all still be safe. If anybody is a little wary about it, I would encourage people to join it, try it for at least a week, maybe 2 weeks. I mean, I'd even say as much as I'd be forever grateful if you're trying it out for at least a month, give it 30 days. And in the process, if there's something that I can do to help, if there's something that I can do to change anything that would, help anybody out in the group that is reasonable for everyone and fair for everybody, I'm always happy to hear just suggestions and anything like that. So as always, guys, I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate the fact that you guys have, followed me through this journey of rebuilding Matt's Wrestling Collectibles and going through all these different motions. Like I've said, there's been so much to rebuild. And we're finally starting to get back there. The YouTube, obviously over 1,000 subs now. We're actually a little over 1,300 subs, which is great. So appreciate all you guys that have subscribed. And if you haven't already, get over to the channel, hit that subscribe button as always, and make sure if you really want to see me every day, and I'm trying to make sure I see you guys every day. I'm going to try to make sure these videos are starting to get posted more and more. But guys, hit that bell icon if you want to make sure you're going to see this face every day. Hey, maybe you don't want to do that. So if not, you don't have to hit that bell icon. That's just fine. Maybe you want to talk about it. Maybe you want to leave a comment on this video. Maybe you want to comment on another video of mine, which is just as great. And if not, maybe hit that thumbs up button on the video as well. I appreciate that. It all helps, like I said, with those YouTube algorithm things and all that number bullshit and whatever else you want to talk. But that is what it is. And guys, as always, we're going to get into this video now. We're going to finally get into what we want to talk about here. There's a few things that have gone on in the world of professional wrestling over the past couple of weeks that I've been away from you guys. One of which is we have now seen the Vince McMahon documentary is going to be coming to Netflix. September 25th, it is going to be a docuseries. I'm not sure if they're going to release it all at once or if it's going to be, week by week by week. But this is absolutely wild, guys. I mean, in the middle of everything that's already going on, he still hasn't, been exactly convicted of anything, if anything. So a lot going on. This documentary is dropping. I believe Vince himself is in the documentary. I'm not 100% sure how that works, or if he's going to maybe not even be in it at all. I actually don't know, because WWE has no like backing or rights or creative control or anything over this. So it's a very big deal to see that we're going to finally get Vince McMahon, the docuseries, like the real deal stuff. I mean, the fact that just in the presentation of the promo of it, the commercial for it, if you will, the ad for it, whatever it may be that you want to call it. But we already know it's going to talk about the steroids. We already know it's going to talk about this most recent issue. We already know that they're bringing up Chris Benoit. I mean, this is a lot of stuff that is not brought up by WWE ever. And obviously for good reason. If you're worried about PR, you're worried about what's going on, you're worried about what these these companies, these advertisers are wanting to see. Obviously, you don't want to remind them about the bad times. You only want to push forward on the good times. So, of course, I can understand where they're coming from, but I cannot imagine that this documentary is going to be all too great for business. And that's just, I don't know. I guess we kind of have to see what's going to happen. And as well, a very good point that I want to throw out and say thank you to none other than 83 Weeks, Conrad Thompson, Eric Bischoff, giving me this idea and a little something to run with here. It is very, very much sitting at the front of my mind right now is, does Vince McMahon in this whole thing, if not in the documentary itself, if there is nothing of him directly in the documentary, nothing of him speaking on it himself, speaking on these issues, if they're clips that are taken from another time, but if it's not directly recorded for this, my curiosity stands with, does Vince McMahon, after this is all played out, after we've seen all of this happen, does Vince McMahon come out with his own documentary? Does he do such a thing? It was a very big topic of conversation on 83 Weeks, and I gotta say, guys, I mean, it leaves a lot for debate. It leaves a lot for just what is going to happen here. What are we really dealing with? Is Vince McMahon that crazy? Could he literally sit there and say, well, now that all this is done, I'm going to come back, I'm going to give my story, I'm going to give what I think people need to hear, whether it is heard or just there, whether it's just in the atmosphere, at least it gives him a chance to tell his side. Is that what we're going to see? Always remember, guys, even with everything that's happened, Vince McMahon has so many connections. There is no doubt in my mind that if he wanted to, he could probably get it set up, produced, everything done, set, and over with. I'd say I'd give it maybe 30 days, give it exactly a month. That whole thing would be wrapped up and ready to go. He has the power still, and always remember that. So it could happen at any time. It could happen in the near future. It could happen years down the road. And that was a perfect point that, Eric Bischoff was making on that, where he said, this is something where if it was to happen, we're looking at potentially maybe 2 years from now. It might even be longer before we could see a documentary or an autobiography or something along those lines in a sense. I don't know if I want to really say autobiography, but on the fact that it would be Vince talking about himself kind of fits that narrative. So, but with what Eric said in that one, it's very much a thing where how long do we wait to get to that point? It's not simple. It's not something where he can start talking about it while this is all going on, because obviously we don't want to have information being used against us. And Vince is a very smart businessman regardless, even if this situation is at where it's at. I know some people might comment, some people might say, well, he could have been too smart because obviously the situation he's in. But also, too, remember, in a situation like this, you start to become very complacent in what you're doing. You start to become very stagnant in what you're doing, to the point where maybe you're not staying on top of things the way you once would have. And not that I'm putting any type of excuse out there in any form or capacity. It was definitely wrong from what we've heard. If these accusations are true, they are terribly disgusting. And unfortunately, that is something that we'll have to cross that bridge when we get to it. But to continue to think on this whole entire topic and what Vince could really do, the other thing that plays into a factor is the age at that point. Is Vince right now, I believe, is 77, I think 76, 77, somewhere in there, maybe 78. So to sit there and say that 80 years old or right around that time frame to be doing a documentary, I don't know. Will we really see that? Is it worth him, putting that extra stress on his heart, on his body, on his mind, everything that goes with it? So I don't know. Will we see that? I guess that will all be left up for debate. But of course, this is going to be crazy. So I cannot wait to see it. I want to let you guys know right now, those episodes, if they're all released at once, we'll have to do them in order and make a video with them. If they're going to be released week by week, I wanted to let you guys know now that starting on September 26th, every Thursday after we get a new episode of this docuseries, I believe it's supposed to be 6 parts. So I'm very excited for this, but 6 parts, again, not sure if they'll release it all on the first night. They might release it, week by week. So either way, however it is figured out, we are going to do an episode. We're going to review the episode, do an episode, review an episode. And then by the time it's all said and done and wrapped up, when we reach the 6th and final episode, we will do a 6th and final episode review and wrap up and kind of talk a little bit about all of them. So it's going to be fun, guys. It's going to be something really cool to discuss and really fun to get into. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to getting your opinions on it and seeing where this goes. It is just going to be crazy. I am beyond shocked that we're even getting this. I mean, this is nuts. But again, what can you do, right? This is going to be something that a lot of people are going to want to know what's going on. And I mean, and also with the producers, and like I said, no creative control by WWE, this is going to be quite something that you guys are going to want to check out. And I know I'm looking forward to it. So hopefully we'll see something good from it. Oh, man. I'll tell you what, guys, hopefully someday, if it isn't Red Bull, it'll be Prime Hydration. Hopefully I get a little sponsorship over here, help me out. Let me get to Logan Paul. Somebody tag Impulsive, tag Logan Paul, do something. Help me out. Because I'm over here drinking Prime like I'm Prime Time himself. Call me Deion Sanders. I'm playing on the baseball field. I'm playing on the football field. And I'm winning everywhere we go. So make sure stay hydrated with Prime. See, look at that. That was a free shout out right there. But anyway, guys, as I was saying here, as we want to continue to move forward, we're going to go past this Vince McMahon thing. I'd like to talk about SmackDown last Friday. It was the first SmackDown that was on Fox, or first SmackDown that's on the USA Network. My apologies. Now we're going to be going all over the place. Netflix, Fox, USA. Who knows what we're doing here. But first SmackDown on the USA Network. The stars were definitely out. I mean, we had everybody in the audience. We had Rob Van Dam, William Regal. We had so many guys that were in attendance for this one, and it was great to see. I know John Cena had already kind of talked about the things he was going to be doing moving forward, and I guess I had a little extra hope that we would see Cena, maybe make an appearance that night. Unfortunately, not the case, but either way, it is a good time, as always, to be able to see SmackDown on USA. Let's talk about the Cody Rhodes Solo Sikoa steel cage match. What a match. I think it was incredible. I think we're really starting to see some good work from Solo. I think he's getting better. It does take time. I mean, when you're put into a position like that, you have to think about it, guys. He was running around as the silent muscle for so long. Then he starts to get these talking roles. Now he starts to have this extra role with the Bloodline 2.0, essentially, and, OG Bloodline versus New Bloodline. And it's actually funny, too. I don't want to get off topic on this, but I have been dying to see WWE take the WCW New Blood Rising and potentially make that like the War Games theme this year. I think it would be incredible. I think it would be so cool, considering that, War Games goes back to the days of WCW. And to have it be, New Blood Rising would be very cool and would be very poetic justice, if you will, to what they are trying to tell for a story. So we will see how that goes. Obviously, very doubtful that will happen. But I am excited to see that new Bad Blood is, coming back. I think that's great, and very excited to see that. We'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But as far as it goes with Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa, I think it was a great match. I think we're really starting to see a lot of good timing from Solo. There's a few things here and there that are a little bit off. But, again, he's being put into a major spot, and he's doing what he can. He's doing what he needs to. I mean, as far as getting people to go over and to, continue with this story. And now we have Cody Rhodes teaming up with Roman Reigns. It's a very tough one on that, because here's my issue with this, guys. If Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns are to face Solo and Jacob Fatu, here is my issue with this. unless there is a disqualification, which I would not be surprised to see that coming from a mile away, here is my issue. If Cody and Roman are to lose the match, who gets pinned? You pin Cody Rhodes, well, now you're starting to kind of maybe wear the champ down a little bit, giving him a reason to build back up to a title match that he will retain in, which would be great. If you pin Roman Reigns, well, now the problem with that is Roman has been so dominant. The only loss that he has currently now is Cody Rhodes. So to let him lose another match would be kind of weird. So I'm not really sure how this one goes over. I feel as though Cody and Roman winning that match also doesn't make sense. So, but that is nothing like the women's tag team division right now, because guys, I could go and jump into that and get right away from this whole entire thing. And not that I really wanted to talk much more about SmackDown. It was a great show. I was very happy to see all the production that they're putting into this now. It's really starting to kind of show the gap being bridged between the UFC and WWE. And if you look at some of you guys watch UFC, I'm not sure. Obviously, as I've said before, I'm very, very always on point with UFC, from the pay-per-views to the fight nights and all the interviews and everything in between. But I'm very happy to see the production crossover. These events are starting to look even better and better, and there's nothing that you can really say bad about it. I mean, the production of it is great. It's fantastic, and looking forward to see how they build. But with SmackDown as a whole, I think the show was great. I was very excited to see that steel cage match. I was happy to see kind of how things played out. Looking forward to seeing how this tag match plays out. But going on to the women's tag team division, I gotta say, guys, just a quick note, and I know this is gonna maybe upset some people. I would really appreciate if WWE could figure out a way to make a mid-card championship for the women, whether that's one title or two titles, and scrap the women's tag division. I just think it's kind of, I don't know. I don't really see a reason for it anymore. It's just where we're playing it out for nothing. Right now, Bianca Belair would be amazing as a women's United States champion or a women's intercontinental champion or something along those lines if they were to create something of sort. Another thing that some people might think I'm crazy when I say this, I'm not saying it has to be the exact design, but the Divas Championship that was way, way back when, so many years ago now. I think we haven't seen that since 2013 or 2014, something like that. I would love to see them bring that back as like a mid-card title. You know what I mean? We could still have the women's championship. We could still have the women's world championship, and to have like the Divas title again. Just something. I mean, anything would be great. Just, I don't know. I just feel like the WWE, women's tag division is, it's kind of rough. I don't know. I mean, we had that, the Isla Dawn, Alba Fyre, and we had those back and forths with Jade and Bianca, and I feel like I don't really know what is going on there. I thought they were getting another title match. Maybe I missed something. Maybe that's for the pay-per-view. I have no idea what it is, guys. All I know is that I don't feel as though Jade and Bianca really need to be the champions right now. And if you're going to have a tag division for the women, let it be for real tag teams. Like, okay, we get what we're going to do here, guys. Oh, we're going to put Jade with Bianca, so that way Bianca can build up Jade, and then eventually there's going to be a turn, and then it's going to be so-and-so goes over, so that way Jade can finally have a big, big match and a big win against somebody who's a top star, so we can start putting her into more, decisive championship matches or building her way up the ladder. I get it. I really do. I understand the whole concept of what they're doing. I just feel as though neither of them need that belt. They're so great without it. They don't need the title. And I'm not saying that these other people do, but when you have some of these real like tag teams, Damage Control, this Pure Fusion Collective, which, I mean, give or take, I'm a little iffy with that still. And a couple others, I mean, obviously like I said, Damage Control. You also have, Fire and Dawn, and just all these actual women's tag what am I saying here? Stables, these tag teams, and they're I think they're much more deserving of the situation. I don't think that we need to see main event stars and people that are clearly main event stars holding the tag titles. I'm not saying that you can't. I'm not saying it doesn't bring some greatness to the division, and of course it builds the division, but I don't know. It's just not my thing, guys. I think there's a lot more that could be said, and I'm just not really crazy about it. That's all. What we got going on back here? I'm still on the TV, so that's all right. We're doing okay. And then also, too, guys, want to break down Raw a little bit. I'm very excited to see the Jey Uso Braun Breaker match for the Intercontinental Championship. I do not think that Jey Uso wins. I think Braun Breaker wins. I think it gives him another very high name opponent that he can put a victory over that will then kind of increase his lineage within this title, within this division, within holding the belt. So I think there's a lot to be said with that. I don't think Jey Uso gets the title as much as I'd like to see that, but I don't think that is the case. Also, too, very excited to see kind of what's going on with the continuance of Sami Zayn and Gunther. A lot to be said there, as well as the Drew McIntyre and CM Punk Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood. That's going to be awesome. Cannot wait to see where that goes. I do think that Drew is going to take a loss there that night. I think that Punk finally goes over. I think it's finally kind of the end, and I think it would make sense for Punk to win. And then also, too, we're going to go back to my buddy Joe Tessitore there on commentary. As I've said to you guys already, for anybody who doesn't know Joe Tessitore, if you're a fan of boxing, you've definitely heard him before.